So the issue here, the privacy issue, was that initially when you signed up, the app apparently got a lot of your Google or Gmail account information. They've released an update which they say fixes that. But Sunny, given your experience in gaming and VR, how serious do you think this privacy issue really is?
I think it's pretty serious when it includes children. Pokemon is making mobile gaming accessible for very young children that you're seeing out in the street that aren't necessarily engaging with their parents for permission. This brings into question COPPA compliance, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act concerns. And I think that whether it was a mistake or not on behalf of Niantic, this is something that needs to be remedied pretty quickly.
What about some of the overall overall security and safety issues, and maybe even legal issues?
Yeah, no, I think it calls into question some legal questions around trespassing, possession. Do you own the augmented reality Pokemon that's on your own physical property? If people are clambering over fences to be able to get access to capturing certain Pokemon, does that raise questions around indemnification? Of Nintendo and Niantic against prosecution. Questions like that come up in this as well.
Now, Jitendra, you are very deep into this space, gaming, virtual reality, augmented reality. You own a lot of the equipment, you play a lot of games. How serious do you think these issues are?
Isn't it fascinating that we're talking about these implications a week after the game is launched? So that's how successful the adoption rate has been. If you look at the stock movement in general, what it's suggesting is the expectation of how Nintendo can monetize its other IPs that are not on mobile. Because Nintendo will probably make a fraction of what Niantic meant from Pokemon Go. But this whole new location, it's probably not new, but location-based gaming is going to get a lot more impetus and open new avenues of monetization, right? Like you have location-based services, location-based advertising, the accessories that Nintendo is planning, and henceforth. So the expectation that Nintendo can get their mojo back of reinventing the gaming space like they did with the Wii has gone up.
Now, Sunny, you mentioned augmented reality, but as I understand it, you don't actually think this is really an AR game.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I think it's
Why?
much more, as Jitendra mentioned, it's much more of a location-based game. My definition of what augmented reality is, being an investor in the space, is computer vision application. You're seeing Pokemon flying, in the middle of space, for example. There is no dynamic real-time mapping of the environment around you. I think what it's doing is it's actually drawing upon Google Maps fixed latitude and longitude data to be able to place gyms and places to capture certain Pokemon accordingly. The only dynamic mapping that seems to take place is what Niantic is pushing. So for example, as you might go to a particular location, there might be a new Pokemon that appears there. That's not necessarily representative of any kind of real-time environmental mapping, though.
Do you think it's not AR, Jitendra?
Well, the type of game is not, but if you look at all the location-based games that you will see, and you have seen in the past, but they didn't quite succeed as much. They didn't have Pokemon behind them. But that needs you to have mobile devices with you, So augmented reality glasses, the future that Zuckerberg is pitching, is that it's going to be a mobile device, way down the line, and these experiences will naturally extend themselves on AR platforms. But they're not natively AR games per se, but like what Niantic loves to call it as real-world gaming. So the genre over here is location-based.